And we are live. Good evening, beautiful ladies. Good evening, everybody
Good
who
evening.
is tuned in. We're going to give the audience a minute to rally up and um, get on this train. Good evening, Maggie. Good evening, Julie. How are you guys doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you
Happy
too.
New Year. Good
Thank
evening.
you. I can't believe we're already in February. That's crazy. So the year's already flying by.
Yeah.
Yes. So welcome everybody. We are waiting for some viewers to jump in. So how's the new year so far for you guys?
Everything is going well. Had a couple little health issues with my knee, but nothing I can't handle.
Okay. All right.
Doing well, likewise. Trying to adjust to this new America, but otherwise we're good.
Yeah. Yep. Good. It's been a good year so far. Just staying really busy, busier than ever. I'm feeling like I'm being pulled in so many different directions, but really, um, I guess that's what it is. I just noticed we all have like short, cute haircuts.
It's the month of natural beauties.
Yes, yes.
Really?
We're here for it. We're here. The natural beauties. So welcome everybody. Welcome back to the Poly Pimps. We are in season 3 of our podcast. We are missing Sky. Thank you. We hope to keep bringing you great conversations. And as always, if you guys um, excuse me. If you guys have something you want to talk about, you have questions, please feel free to email us at thepolypimps@gmail.com or just send us a message on Facebook or Instagram to let us know what you would like to see on the show and topics you would like to discuss, questions you have regarding relationships, polyamory, non monogamy, all of that. So, um, tonight we are actually discussing Metamour's relationships and couples privilege. I am gonna um, put the link in the comment section, and that way, if anybody wants to jump in the conversation with um, video or without video, you are more than welcome to. You don't have to be on video. You can just use your voice. So you don't have to type in a lot of stuff if you don't want to. But we are here and we would like for you to participate and just be you. So, um, before we get into it, I would like for you guys to quickly introduce yourselves. I know both of you are return guests in here, but for the people who are new to the podcast, who didn't see your episodes, just do a quick introduction of who you are, how you here, and why you're here. Let's start with you, Maggie.
Okay. Hi. Good evening, everybody. I am Maggie Bonet. I am I'm a clinical sexologist. I'm a therapist. I'm also a nurse, a mental health nurse, licensed professional counselor, and a clinical sexologist. I have been in practice for quite some time, and I basically based my practice on relationship. So I'm primarily focusing on relationship issues, intimacy, as well as any other sexual health concerns. But today I am not with my therapy hat on. I am here because for years I have learned, educated myself, and learned a lot about non monogamous lifestyles. so that I can help my clients. I've gone to various venues, like I read a lot, listen to a lot of podcasts, and I have been poly minded, as I've said before, that you guys may have heard me say I'm poly minded, but I can't say I've ever been in an actual real poly relationship because not everyone who involved was aware. So it's not ethical. So I really never call myself being in a poly, or more so non-monogamous. Even that was non-ethical. It was not an ethical non-monogamous relationship. But um, as of last year, I decided that regardless of my fears, and the fears were not surrounding what people think per se, but concerning myself with the fact that I have a practice and, who will I attract? How will they perceive me? And I went to SDS, Sex Down South, this past September and met with so many other professionals who are in the lifestyle and they're not concerned about that. And they really encouraged me to just really be my authentic self. Even though I thought I was living authentically, I felt that that part of me, I was keeping it at bay for the sake of my clients or who I will attract. And I gave that up last September. And so I'm here as a newbie exploring the poly lifestyle and ethical non monogamy. No more like, well, I'm seeing somebody, the other person don't really want to know, and so what? Okay, fine. So, but now it's like, no, I want you to know this is exactly what I will be doing. So this was a very long introduction. Sorry.
No, we love it. Don't be sorry. We have all the time in the world.
Yeah, just to get so you ask, who we are and why I'm here. So today I'm here, with also with a learning mindset, with an open mind, but also from the perspective of a newbie just beginning to navigate the poly and non-ethical, non-monogamous lifestyle. So that's me.
All right. Thank you, Maggie. And yay, welcome to officially being in the non-monogamous, ethical non-monogamous world
Yes.
slash polyamory.
Yes.
So hopefully, I mean, there's always a lot to learn, and even for the season
Ooh,
ones,
you
there's
will.
always a learning curve or some more stuff. So welcome, and I hope your mind is truly opened to
Mhm.
uh, all the different experiences that you will encounter.
Right. Thank you.
And Julie.
Well, I am Julie. I am not new, but I like to keep my mind open to learning continuously. Seems like regardless to I've been on this journey maybe about 14 years, maybe, and all of it was not where I am now. So I too
Hmm.
started as a new bee, and we came by way of swinging, but I was not interested in that. It was not very fulfilling for me, so I didn't stay over there very long. Um, this young lady here, I don't always use all of the correct terminology. I don't read all of the books, but I am part of the polyamorous community. I have been in it, like I said, for about 15 years. So I have lived it. So I don't necessarily need a book. I'm not saying that I can't learn, but my learning has come just from being in it. So I'm not going to always have all of the correct terminology. Some terminology we've made up on our own. Um, my husband and I will often say that we're bringing something to the table. And the way that we have dated is that nothing is a secret. I know where he is, he knows where I am, safety wise, and just we don't necessarily discuss everything in relationship to our partners, but for safety reasons, we always know where the other one is. Um, I generally, in the beginnings, when we meet someone, we always tell them right off the bat that they have to meet the other partner. We don't have to hang out. We don't have to go out, but at some point, you're going to meet us early on so that you know this is serious. It's not a game. We're not playing. It's not a secret. I'm not a secret. You're not a secret. He's not a secret. So a lot of things we've just kind of learned on our own. Um, what I encountered early on is when I was meeting different men along the way, they never wanted to be revealed. It was all fine in the beginning until I said, well, okay, now I want you to meet my husband. Oh, I have to meet your husband? I said, yeah. I don't care if it's over FaceTime or if we're out somewhere, you're going to meet him. We don't do the secret stuff. So they seem to be comfortable with that long as they're a secret. You're not a secret, sir. This is real. It's not a game. We're not cheating, you know. Um, so yeah, I'm sure as we go along through all of this, more will come out.
All right. Thank you, Julie, for your intro. And for those who are meeting me for the first time, I am the other half of the Poly Pimps. I guess one half of the Poly Pimps. My name is Mitu Charles, and we have been doing this for the second year, third season. Um, so I started the podcast because I wanted to have the conversation in my community, the Haitian community, because a lot is taboo for us.
Mhm.
And I thought, it would be great to start the conversation. And you don't have to be polyamorous to be in here. You don't have to be polyamorous to be part of the conversation. Um, so I guess that's pretty much it. Um, Tonight we are talking about Metamour relationships and couples privilege. We're gonna start with the first part, I guess, of the topic for tonight. Metamour. A lot of people are like, "What is that?" Um, a metamour is your partner's partner. I have had many experiences, and I even as relationships, and I usually get to keep my metamours, which is a great perk because you get friends along the way if you get along. Um, so to start, Julie is my metamour, and I don't really use the word was just because I may not be with the person anymore. Like I have plenty of metamours. Sky is my metamour, and we use meta for short. So that's the term we're gonna use for the most part tonight, because metamour is a full mouth or mouthful of words. So um, Julie is my metamour, and I've had, like I said, many experiences, some good, some bad. Some I got to keep friendship with, others I never got to meet. Um, so that's what we're gonna talk about. Um, as far as people ask, like, do you have to? Because Julie, you were talking earlier about how you and your husband always tell the person that you're dating that at some point they will have to meet the spouse. And you say, you've shared that some people, they are not really open to that because they thought there was going to be the excitement of hidden relationships. um so, what has been your experience as a meta? Not as the person dating, but as a meta. What's been your experience?
Well, I have not had any bad experiences. Um, I have met everyone that he has dated. I liked everyone. And if I did not care for particular things that has nothing to do with me because I'm not dating them, long as you're happy. Um, I haven't had any bad experiences. And we have gone out, him and I and his partners have all gone out on a continuous, not necessarily, but have we gone out? Yes, we have. And there's never been any issues. Um,
Okay.
there was an issue. It,
Ooh.
it, it
Ooh.
didn't have
We like
anything to
some
do. It didn't
give
have,
us the tea.
this is the key. As long as he doesn't walk in, he's still here. A particular person that he was going out with, um, we, our circles are, our polyamorous circle isn't very big because like you were saying, me too, it's taboo in 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 your community, in the Haitian community. It's also taboo over this way as well. So um we don't tell everybody because it's not their business. It's not a secret. If you ask me, I'll
Right.
tell you, because then that gives me a chance to explain to you what it is and what it's not, what
Mhm.
you read and what the real life
Right.
situation is. So our group that knows, but we don't talk about it, but they are aware. My husband brought a young lady that he was dating, and they happened to arrive at this function prior to me getting there, and everybody was looking around like, well, who is this and where is Julie? And everybody starts calling me, well, where are you? I say, I'm coming. I'm coming. So I get there, and then they're starting to pull me to the side.
He's here
So
with
it was,
another woman.
well, yeah, and they trying to figure out who she is. So it wasn't awkward for me because I didn't care. I went and got in the pool. I went and had my little wine. I'm just bip bopping and whatnot. But it was awkward for them because that's not our group that we hang out
Mm.
with our partners. So that was interesting, and I think it may have been a little uncomfortable for him. Wasn't uncomfortable for me,
Right.
but it might have been uncomfortable for him. So
Yeah.
that was a situation. I mean, her and I, she wasn't around very long,
Mhm.
but I didn't have any issues with her. She seemed
Okay.
nice enough.
Okay. I mean, I think in a situation like yours, yeah, you gonna run into people, whether you at the store with this person, at the restaurant, or on a date. It doesn't even have to be like a common place. There's the possibility of running into people that you know.
And he's
Some
had it
of
quite
them,
often.
yeah. So some of them may even be hiding, taking pictures to send to you. Like, who is this person? Did you know? Or whatever. So,
And I would say
um,
yes. Oh,
yeah,
did she have on a red dress? Yeah. Girl, I know her.
yeah. So I'm sure you guys have run into that kind of situation before. So, Maggie, so you shared that you are a newbie to the lifestyle, to the love style. So, what so I can't really ask you if you've had a meta relationship to where
Mm.
or you have come across anybody that your partner is dating, because typically it's like we don't even talk about it. So, what do you understand? What would you like as stepping into this new scenery, this new life? What do you envision? Because we always have a picture in our head, right? That we would like. So what do you envision for
Whew,
yourself?
whew, I'm still working on that. What Julie said was couldn't be any truer. It doesn't matter how much you learn in the books, the lived experiences to me is what's valuable. I mean, it's important to learn. Like I said, I did so I can assist my clients. But as far as when I started exploring, it's a lot different. Like Julie said, it's a lot different. It's not the same. Has It's never the same, really. So I keep having these various ideas as I talk to different people, and as I've had friends, and like I said, I've had clients that I've learned through, but I have a lot of friends who are also in ethical non-monogamous relationships, and I'm learning through them, and I'm trying to figure out, I'm really still trying to figure it out. What I thought I wanted, so at some point, I was like, I don't know if I want to be in a relationship where the guy is already involved, like married or something, because
Mhm.
I consider myself solo poly and I want to date other solo polys, at least for starter. But then I ran in, I matched with somebody who already has a primary and actually a nesting partner. And I was like, okay, now what? What that entail? And so I'm trying to figure out what are the questions to ask. For certain, I know it's important that I meet that partner. And even if I don't like hang out, like Julie said, even if I don't hang out with them, I know it's important to them that at some point you know of each other and you learn about each other or whatever the case may be. Um, but it's a bit scary to me. And I initially started this journey saying, no, hell no, I don't want to meet anybody. No. But at the same time, again, I mean, I kept listening to Julie and I'm like, at the same time, how do you know this is real? How do I know that your partner is really aware? How can I feel secure in this relationship not knowing it's going to get messy, right? Like, I don't know that for certain unless I meet the partner and get that reassurance that this is real and that this person is not cheating. Because this is exactly why I'm choosing this lifestyle, is because I don't want to be in relationships where you feel the need to cheat, right? Or
Right.
vice versa, or I feel the need to cheat. So,
Mhm.
how do I know? I don't know unless I actually get some sort of confirmation from their partner. So, good question, me too. I'm literally like, you're asking this as I have, like, over the past couple of days, continuously thinking about what is it that I want? How do I want it to go? Because I was like, I want to be in my own, I definitely want to be independent. I've already said I don't want to be a primary. I just started, for God's sake. I don't want to be anything. I don't want a label because I don't even know what I'm getting into. And I
Right.
have met people who are specifically looking for primaries, and I ran. I was out. I was like, no, I can't. No, I can't do this. This is why I don't want a monogamous relationship because I want commitment. I'm not ready for commitments. Which I also got to explore why I fear commitment, but that wasn't the question. What do I envision as um, I do envision myself being part, and I was hanging out with a couple recently, a poly couple, and it was just so lovely. It was so lovely. It was beautiful. The dynamic was beautiful. They welcomed me, and these are friends that I would not be playing with or
Right.
involved with, but it was just watching the dynamic, and I'm like, this wouldn't be okay. And the way they talked about their other partner, it was just so loving. It was a lot of respect. And I thought, that might just be okay. It just might be okay to be in that environment. And you said something earlier, me too, about developing new friendships and beautiful, lasting, loving relationships. What can be wrong with that? I absolutely love women. Unfortunately, I'm not bi, but I love, 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 love my sisters. I love women. And why wouldn't I want to have more beautiful, positive female energy in my circle? And if it means acquiring those through this experience, I guess I'm open.
Okay.
I don't know. Right now, I'm open. You could probably see it. I can feel myself flushed, and I don't know if it shows. I am totally turning red because I am still, the idea in and of itself can be a little bit nerve wracking. And I thought, Julie, I thought because I have been an observer of the lifestyle for so many years, that this should just be pretty easy, right?
Easier said than done.
It is
Like I
not as
said,
easy as
what
I
you read in the
thought.
books and doing the walk is totally different.
It is an entirely different thing. It's an entirely different thing to be on this side of it. So I'm grateful for whatever I've learned to prepare me. I'm grateful for the friends, the clients that I've actually learned through. Um, but I definitely, that's why I said I'm a total newbie. I'm here to learn. I'm completely open minded. I know nothing. I know nothing. I'm starting fresh and I want to know what it's like. I want to meet people and learn. But I can tell you from this vantage point right now, I do not, I don't know if I'd be ready to meet Amanda.
Okay.
I would love to talk to her, but I
Yeah.
don't know if I could meet her and hang out with her until I know for sure things are okay. If that
Can I
Yeah.
makes
speak
sense.
on the friendship part of it? I feel that I have a good friendship with me too.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I hope that when she first met me that she felt the genuineness in my energy. And I think when you meet the other person, it definitely gives you that reassurance that all is well. I want him to be happy. When they go out, we talk about surface stuff. I say, that, well, where'd y'all go? You know, or he might say, we went to this concert. Oh my God, it was amazing. Blah, 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 blah. I want him to come back with that. And then, da, 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 da. You know, I want him to be happy. That's what this is all about.
Right.
We've hung out. We've gone out for New Year's. We've gone out for other events um, with no issues. Um, I think our personalities are very similar. Maybe that's why he may have been attracted to
Hmm.
me too. Um, we, I just, we just never had any. We don't have any issues in the sense of meeting each other's partners. Um, one of my partners, I've known since I was probably 12.
Oh, wow.
Uh, so he's just always going to be there. He's my friend. I think if anything was going on with me, he would be there. I don't see him that often because he lives up the highway a piece, but he'll always be there. Kevin knows him, has known him. My family knows him. My family knows. My children know. Um, an interesting story. My youngest, I want to say she was maybe 14. So this guy and my youngest and I, we went just to regular little restaurant, and I had on a bodysuit or something, some little jumpsuit or something that had a zipper in the back. So I turned when I came out the bathroom, I turned this way for him to zip it up, and she got in my ear. She said, "Mommy, why you let him zip up your clothes?" I was
He's not
like,
supposed to be that close.
and it was funny. I ate one of his fries. She was like, "Why are you eating his fries?" So this was still new to her at the time. They knew, but they didn't. Like I said, to live it and to walk it is different than reading it and seeing it in the movies.
Right. Right.
Yes.
So when she was actually in the space, she was like,
What is going on here?
she said, "What's going on?"
I'm gonna tell my daddy when we get home.
Right? Like your daddy already know, ma'am. But it's interesting as
Yeah.
you go on the journey and your friends that aren't very understanding and they've only seen it in the movies or read about it and they don't have a real concept of what it is and what it isn't, so they throw stuff onto what your journey is. So once they do that, that just gives you the opportunity to tell them what it is and what it's not.
Right.
Right. before I jump in, we're gonna go into in the comments first. Anthony said, "I feel you. I don't need the book either." For me, like I did both, right? And I've told this story many, many times. I feel like I've always been polyamorous, but of course, throughout the years, retrospection, it's like, oh, I see different phases of my non-monogamous mindset, but I didn't start living polyamorously until about 2019, end of 2018. And I dove in. Like there was no looking back because that's what I was meant to have. That's how I was meant to live. So there was no looking back. So I read quite a few books. I've listened to podcasts, so I've learned a lot of the stuff from the book. Some of it was already familiar just because of my mindset. But a lot of terminologies I learned from the books. I joined some Facebook groups. I have a couple of them that I still stay pretty active in just to kind of there's always a good conversation that you can learn from. So I usually like to get in these groups because people bring up all kinds of questions and sometimes you learn from those conversations too. It may change your mind about how you viewed certain things as well. So I've done both the book and um, the life itself because certain things I was just like, oh, okay, I didn't see this one coming. That was a learning curve for me. So yeah, I enjoy both. Um, Anthony, he's very active. Thank you, Anthony, for participating. I don't think not wanting to meet your husband is being a secret, in my opinion. So here's what I'm gonna say. Hey, Sky.
Thanks, guy.
Um, and he also the same question. So in your mind, meeting the meta is necessary. So for me, I usually ask for a video chat at the very least if we decide we're gonna continuously date or even talk because I've seen messy situations. A lot of people out there claim to be polyamorous, claim to be ethically non-monogamous, but they're all just cheating or doing their own thing. I've met so many men as they're like, oh yeah, yeah, my wife knows, blah, blah, blah. Some of them they just have a hall pass. That's not the person I want to deal with. I understand your journey. That's where you are. And I respect it that you can get a hall pass, but I'm not here for the hall pass. Um, Usually as soon as I mention that, hey, I'm gonna want to talk, not just a voice call, you got to show me pictures of you and your wife. And then at some point, I definitely want to video chat with her just to make sure that it's that person on that other line, just because it's not necessarily because I need to establish a relationship with them. It's more for safety reasons because I've seen so many videos on the internet where you sitting on a date with somebody and then this woman comes up and starts beating either you up or the person or both of you. People get killed because of those kind of situations. So I always want to make sure that we're all on the same page. We don't have to be besties. I just want to know that you know that I exist in his life. And that's where it stops. We don't have to become friends. If the connection is not genuine, if it's not organic, I don't have to be friends with you. Because I have been, okay, go ahead, Julie.
I see where Sleepy Brown is saying, is that necessary? Hey, Sleepy, I've met
Right.
you many times in another group.
Mhm.
You know, and you've been polyamorous for some time. Everybody's journey or the way that they poly isn't always the same. The way I do it is not going to be the way you do it, and the way you do it is not going to necessarily be the way that someone else does. For me, and My husband, this is what we prefer. This is how we move. Everybody has their own little rules or whatever within their poly journey. So if it doesn't work for whoever, you all sit down and figure out what works for you all.
Yeah. Um, Thank you, Julie. I have also dated people that had other partners that I've never met. I've heard of them. I'm always open to meeting the person. But like for sure though, if I know you are married or nested or in a previous relationship before me, yeah, I need that person to know that I'm here, that I exist, because, like I said, for safety reasons and transparency, I need that person to know, not just me knowing about them. Because like I said, I've had several guys. I had this guy, he's like, oh, yeah, yeah, me and my wife, we do this, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. Would you mind if I get on a video call with her just to say hey and meet her? And we don't have to be friends. I never heard from him after that. I had another one, same thing. It's like they disappear very quickly as soon as I ask to meet. So that tells me that you were trying to cheat on your wife. I'm not gonna be accessory to this thing, whatever you're trying to do. I'm not gonna help you with that. You can go find somebody else. There are plenty of people out there who are willing and able to do that. I just don't care for it. So um and I so happen to develop good relationships with a handful of my metas, and I have absolutely no regrets because we're all here, still friends, still hanging out outside of the people that we dated or that I dated with them. And I absolutely love it. Is it always sunshine and rainbows? No, I mean, we may have moments here and there, probably. But honestly, thinking back, I think I've never really I have not fought in years with anybody. We may have disagreements, but I don't find myself arguing with anybody over anything. It's always a conversation for whatever is going on. So I am grateful for that. Another comment, I'm just here to support my bestie and learn. Hey, Anne, we hope you are feeling well and thank you for tuning in. I miss you, bestie. And Sleepy Brown said, I was just wondering. Okay. Yeah. So um, I had a meta that it seemed like she disliked me from the get-go. I've never met her, never seen her, not one day in my life, but I had a feeling that she just disliked me altogether. So, of course, at that point, I was like, I'm not interested in meeting. At least you know about me, and I know about you. So, we're going to keep it moving. That's it. We don't have to meet. Um, so yeah, I don't know that I've had any bad meta relationships. What time is
I
it?
have
It's
a question.
9:30. Mm-hmm.
Oops, I do have a quick question. You mentioned having been in a relationship with the male partner
Mm-hmm.
and the relationship has terminated, but you've maintained a relationship with your meta.
Mm-hmm.
How has it ever been an awkward situation? Like, of course, it depends on why the two of you, and I don't like to say break up, but
Mm-hmm.
you have
Transitioned.
discontinued the relationship.
Yeah.
Has it ever been awkward between you and the male partner now that you are friends with the meta and you're no longer seeing him?
I haven't run into that issue because the transition, I mean, it's always somebody who's gonna call it, right? Unfortunately, the person who is receiving the news is not always going to be excited about it, but you learn to move along. I mean, I've been on the receiving end before and it's fine. It's, I've always transitioned peacefully with those partners. So, and I've hung out. Actually, Sky and I, we used to date the same person. We've been to brunch together, the three of us, just hanging out. While neither one of us is dating him anymore, but we remain friends. Um, yeah, no awkwardness at all. Um, I've talked to Kevin, Julie's husband, after the breakup, but no issues. I've never really, not on my end. So no. And honestly, at this point, you can't control two grown folks' relationship. My relationship with her has nothing to do with him. So
Right.
even if I wasn't getting along with him, right, I don't know that it would be okay for him to say, oh, I mean, I'm sure he could, because we're gonna run into couples privilege. So that's gonna transition into couples
Hmm.
privilege, right? He could come out and say, "Well, I don't date her anymore, and maybe whatever happened, maybe it was a bad breakup, and he doesn't want her to talk to me." He could, but she could decide what she wants to do for herself. I'm sure if she decided to go the opposite direction, it probably would put some friction into their relationships and stuff like that. So obviously, you would not want that. So maybe relationships would have changed at that point, but I've never really run into any awkwardness from any transitioned relationships. Yeah.
Would that be the same for you, Julie? Even as the meta, or at times maybe the other person, maybe you may have ran into other metas. Have you had any problems with maintaining the relationship?
Actually, Me Too is the only person that I have continued a friendship with. The other young ladies, I didn't really get to know them that well,
Okay.
and I didn't really put myself out there to get to know them other than meeting them, um, because you know, they, it, I'm friends with people that are like that. My
Hmm.
energy is organic, like you were saying about being an organic interaction. Um, I didn't. They just wasn't my cup of tea. I
Gotcha.
mean, those were the people he chose. I didn't choose them. I didn't choose them.
Right.
But our friendship, Me Too and I, it's an organic energy.
Nice.
I
Okay.
mean,
Yeah.
I like her. She's cool.
She's
Thank you
cool.
both.
Anne
And
says, "Hey, Julie."
Thank
hey,
you both.
hey,
Sleepy said, maybe it's different for some men. I haven't met many of my male metas. And if we didn't, I didn't. Well, that's why I really wish that we had uh men guests tonight, because I really wanted to hear from a man's perspective what the experience has been like. The people who wanted to come on here, but the time just wasn't right for them, either they're at work or whatever. I really, so I'm hoping, Sleepy, would you mind coming on and talk a little bit? You don't even have to show your face if you don't want to. Because it sounds like you've had many meta relationships. We would like to hear from you. If you've had anybody that you actually connected with, any of your metas that you're connected with, and that you still maintain a relationship with. Um, yeah, so let's transition, because we're almost out of time. I'm like, into couples privilege. So earlier, that's what I was talking about. When you come in an established relationship already. Now, I'm gonna talk briefly about the people who date alone. Like Julie and her husband, they did alone. They don't do a triad. For the people who don't know, a triad is a relationship where all three people date each other or all together. It's a triangle. So all the corners are connected. But a V is like me and Julie, we dated the same person at the bottom here. So um or not dated, but I mean she's married. So but like we were with the same person, and that person is the tip of the V. um so a lot of times when you enter an established relationships, obviously, let's say they've been married for 3 decades and I'm new, right? And I can't just come in and expect the same treatment as her because, first of all, everything in their lives are intertwined. They have responsibilities together and all that. I know we're always talking, and I see it online a lot. The couples who are unicorn hunting is like the couples that are looking for a third, usually a woman to add onto their relationships. No men, please, no men. That's what they always say. Um, so when you come in an established relationship like this, it's really, and people, the third person, the person that's just new to it, always expect like, oh, I'm gonna be treated equal. That you said I was gonna be equal, blah 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 blah. But I'm like, even if they weren't married, no relationship is gonna be equal. No relationship is gonna be the same. I always tell people just be happy in the kind of relationship that you have, the kind of connection that you have with that person. Don't compare. Of course, we all tend to do that. We try to compare relationships. So you do this for this person, you don't do that for me, blah, blah, blah. So comparison is the thief of joy. Um, right? So, but a lot of times too, the reason why we're going with this, and that's why I wanted to mention the movie Professor Marston, right? And the Wonder Woman. I don't know if any of you guys saw that movie. I saw it and I was like, oh my God, it had everything in it. It had the meta relationship, then it had the triad, and it also had the couple privilege all in one movie. I was like, oh my God, this is so freaking amazing that this is perfect for the thing, for the next episode. So at first, the lady, the wife told that young lady, like, don't you sleep with my husband. And then eventually they all end up sleeping together and being in a relationship. They fell in love with each other. She fell in love with the young lady and didn't even want to admit it that she was, I guess, bi. And then they all started a triad. The girl was pregnant for the husband. So they all had a family, until the neighbors walked in on them and having a little too much fun
Just
inside
opened
their
the door
neighborhood.
and walked in.
Right? Nosy neighbor. If they
Hmm.
knock, if you knock, they don't come. Don't you go open the door and go inside? Like nobody invited you, ma'am. So she walked in on them having a little BDSM scene and having some fun with the three of them. So then she tells everybody, and now the neighbors don't want them in the neighborhood. Their kids can't play with the neighbors' kids and all of that. And so now the third person, that young lady who's been in this family forever, she birthed what, 3 kids for
What
this
was it?
man, however many kids it
Hmm.
was, 2, 3, whatever. She birthed many kids for this man. So they're all a family, but who gets kicked out? She did.
She did.
Right. So that's when we start talking about couples privilege, because instead of moving or find a solution that worked for all three of them, where everybody was treated with dignity and respect and love and care, she was disposed of. I'm not going to say very easily, but she was definitely disposable to them,
Mhm.
But
even though
didn't
it
he
was a
come
hard
back into the
decision.
relationship?
She did come back later on after the man passed.
Mm.
He
She
didn't pass,
actually,
did he?
yeah, she came back beforehand because the wife became very depressed
Right.
and she was missing her.
Yeah, she was.
But
Yeah.
she was much too prideful to do so, to
To
talk
admit
about it.
so.
So the husband took her to the other woman to beg for forgiveness.
That is true. I
And
remember
she
that
got on her
scene.
knees, begged
Had
for
her get
forgiveness
down
for
on her
being her
knees
bad.
and
Yeah.
beg.
Yes, I loved it. I loved it.
Mhm.
So
But
yeah,
it was more about the whole power and control. If you notice,
right.
it wasn't so much about the submit. It was actually about submission. Because
Yeah.
again, like you said, she felt so disposable in
Yes.
the hierarchy, and now the other woman, she needed to show some level of submission before
Mm-hmm.
the other one felt like she could be accepted back into the
Into the
relationship.
circle. Yeah.
Mhm.
And having dated and continue to date married folks, I don't usually worry about that because to me, it's like, well, you got your life, over there. I don't expect you. Now, I do I'm not gonna say command, but I'm gonna demand some kind of respect. Like if we're hanging out, unless it's a life and death situation that truly requires your presence, like you can't just because my wife is feeling insecure, I must leave right now. She's been jealous at this moment that we're at dinner, having a date, or in the middle of sex. She's not feeling so good about herself now. You have to leave. Like we're not gonna do that. That would be the end of us. Like no discussions, no nothing. I don't want to hear it. You can go, but you can stay gone as well. That would be my thing. Like once you dispose of me like that. And again, I've never dated the women, but there is some kind of connection or whether there's connection or not, because I've known a meta to start a fight when she knew the person was coming here, so that way his mood was spoiled. Guess what he did? Turn around and went back home. Right. So it was like, yeah, we're not going to keep doing that. That's it. We're good. You can keep staying there. So, but a lot of times though, the hinge for you people is like the person who is in relationship with the different people. So basically, my meta and I are connected to that person. The hinge will usually use excuses and putting it on the meta, saying that, oh, well, they don't like this, they don't like that, but they never like to take responsibility for or accountability, I would say, for their actions. So it's easier to put it on somebody else than to take accountability. So I don't know what your experience been with Julie, because I know you date other people. Have you experienced any meta contradictions or like when they try to kind of get in the way of your relationship?
The only thing I think I experienced was with the person that I mentioned that I said I had known since we probably were 12.
Mm-hmm.
And he had started to date someone, which I don't have a problem with that because I'm polyamorous.
Right.
So um, when he told the young lady about me, it became an issue.
Mm.
I didn't have an issue, but she had an issue, and we weren't talking for some period of time. And it didn't last long with them. And I was like, what was that all about? I don't care, you know. Um, so the issue was more on their side, just the fact that he was even still talking to me or wanting to talk to me, and we really wasn't seeing each other that often. But he knew I was here, and I know he's there. Um, I haven't really had any issues other than something like that.
Okay. That's good. Lucky you. Consider yourself lucky because I feel like there's been some that I probably could talk about some more. Sleepy said, I can't come on tonight because I have to go pick up my son. Go be a daddy, Sleepy.
Oh,
Oh,
somebody else said something.
he said, damn, I've never seen the movie and no point in seeing it now. Oh, come on. We did not ruin it for you. It's a great movie. I mean, but we did, like
We ruined it.
the details are worth seeing, Anthony. So I would go watch it.
Me too.
Uh,
What
yes.
was the movie? It wasn't a movie. It was something that was on compersion. Did either of you guys?
Um,
Well, me too. Have you seen that? They
mm,
started it got so far, and I think they ran out of money, but it was really good. It was on YouTube. It
I
was
don't know if I've
some
seen that.
ye-
Someone mentioned that the last time when you guys were doing the movie, I mean, when you were
Okay, yeah,
reviewing the
the last
movie with that
movie.
young man, somebody mentioned about the conversion kind of
Hmm. And
show.
for those
that
who don't know, compersion is the feeling of happiness for your partner when they're with other people. So, like, instead of you being jealous and possessive and not wanting them to go do things, you are very happy for them. Go do it, baby. Enjoy, have fun. Tell me about it if you want
was
to.
me.
Yes. And not all of us have it. Maggie, you will probably experience it at some point. I hope so for you. But not everybody gets to that point.
Honestly, like I have had partners who've been in open relationships. It's just I
Okay.
never met their partner, they never met my partner, that kind of thing. But I've had a couple of partners who were we both were like, do you kind of thing. It
Right.
was unspoken, but we never met. So again, non-monogamous relationships, yes. Poly, no. So it's that's why I'm saying this is very new because it's different. I think, to me, I think it's different.
Right. It
And
is.
people say,
So,
why poly? And I'm like, well, I don't want to be in like a committed relationship where we have open relationship outside of it. I don't have the time to commit right now. So, and it's unfair for somebody to date me and I can't give them my time. So I'm like, I rather date somebody who doesn't need a whole lot of time from me. And because it's unfair to them. They need to be able to do them, like travel or whatever else, if I can't. So that's why I'm choosing poly. But I've been in committed relationships where we are open. And the compersion part, um, I think I feel compersion. Of course, you get different stages in life, but I do feel compersion, I think, because I've not had an issue when I find out that my partner has seen somebody while, they were, I'm like, oh, yeah, you did. And so, later on they might reveal, and I'm fine with it.
mhm.
Now, I say all this to say, and later on, who knows? Again,
Yeah. Well,
if I
I think
let's
compersion is
revisit
more.
as I get further into the lifestyle.
There's so much you're gonna encounter, so much, but compersion is more like the feeling of excitement for your
Right. I
partner. So
am. And
you
that's what I'm saying.
probably
I've
have
experienced
not
compersion.
experienced it yet,
I
or
have
just
experienced compersion
yeah.
for my partners who are seeing other people, and I'm
Mhm.
excited for them.
And it's
Um,
okay, you may never experience it. It's not a requirement to be
no,
polyamorous. Now, one thing I want to bring light to is what you said about commitment. Um, we are not polyamorous because we don't like commitments. We are very
oh, I
much
know.
committed
Yeah,
to people. Maybe it's easier when you are not somebody's only,
correct.
where they want every single, because I've had people that I know who are polyamorous who decided to date a monogamous person. And then they're like, oh no, they're fine with it, whatever. And I'm always like, yeah, you're asking for trouble because I promise you they're not fine with it. But they're hoping, because that's the monogamous mind, they are hoping by you saying yes to being monogamous with them, even if it's for a short period of time, that they can convert you back into monogamy. So eventually you're going to start running into issues, and it never fails. Never.
Never.
Right.
Kevin has had that issue as
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
and that was a learning lesson for us. When
Right.
you're seeking a partner or entertaining someone, those are some of the questions you need to ask, because it's never going to be okay. Because they
It's
don't, because they're there by themselves on the holidays, they're there by themselves on the weekends, they're there because they don't have somebody else that they're dating. So they want all the
all your time.
all their time. And that's,
Right.
to me, that's not what polyamory is about. That's, you're now we're being monogamous. I'm over
Right.
there every weekend. I'm over there every holiday. I'm over there all the time. It's just you. It's just
Right.
about you and me, period. And that's not
Yeah.
what it's about.
Why are you not calling me 3 times a day? Why are we not spending 3 hours on the phone? It's all this, like, I need to know that I'm the only thing you're thinking about. So, yeah.
Just real quickly, I just want to say thank you for clarifying the whole commitment thing. Um, because I probably just need to also revisit that. For me, it is because I, and not to say I could never commit to somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and I said that already, but at this moment,
Mm-hmm.
it's the time commitment that I don't have that has me going this route because also because I don't want to date only one person. But
Right.
yeah, you're right. It was primarily because I don't have the time commitment. So if
And
that
that's
is not on, if that's not sufficient, then I'll need to revisit.
no. We're not saying that it's not sufficient. I'm saying because when people hear that, because that's another thing that monogamous people
That
who are
is,
trying to come after me, right?
oh
They'll be like, "Oh, it's okay because I'm not looking for anything serious either." And I'm like, I never said I wasn't looking for anything serious because all my relationships are serious. Now, do I have friends with benefits? Absolutely. But even those I respect very much.
yeah.
Um, I have partners that I've been with for 4 years. Like, that's my commitment to you. The only commitment I'm not going to give you is all my time, all my energy.
Right, right.
And so I am very much committed to those people in my life because if you call and that's something that I can help with, I'm going to run to
Yeah,
you to
yeah,
help you. That's me being committed to
yeah.
you. Commitment
Agree.
doesn't mean that you get all of me all the
Yeah,
time.
right.
Commitment is me saying yes to you for what you need me for at times. Now, if somebody else can do that for you and I can't at the moment, I would love to help with whatever you need help with. But if at the moment I can and somebody else can help you, I want you to be able to go to that other person or those other people to get the help that you need. That doesn't mean that I'm less committed to you. It's just I cannot at the moment. As opposed to monogamy, it's like, no, like, even to your detriment, you need to be there for me. I need you and you need to be there, point blank. Like, there's no discussion because how can you call yourself my partner, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, my wife, my husband, and I need you right now, no matter how small or big it is, and you're not here for me. So,
Thank
um,
you.
let's see. Oh, okay, never mind. Anthony says, so as to not to confuse them, Anthony and Sleepy, the same person. I mean, I knew that, but I didn't know if you wanted people to know that. So I didn't say anything. Compersion was a series. Thank you, Anthony or Sleepy, whichever one you want to go by. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna write it down so I can
Oh,
check
it
it
was
out.
pretty good. Um,
Okay.
they
Okay.
came out. I met the guy that that did compersion. I
Okay.
think they wanted to continue. They just didn't have the funding, but it was
Okay.
pretty good. I think you should watch it.
I will
Both
definitely check it out.
good.
Thank you for the suggestion.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I think we have covered it all. Did we do a good job? Hopefully, people didn't have questions regarding Metamour relationships. Hopefully, we answered everything and couples privilege. Um, So I want to, before we go, Julie, since you are married, I want to ask,
Uh-oh.
like, have you ever felt like, oh, another couple's privilege that we didn't mention is a veto power. Veto power is like when
Yes.
one person of the couple can just decide, I don't want you dating this other person because I don't really like them for whatever reason, the shape of their head, the way they talk, whatever it is. I don't like them, so you need to end it. So that's veto power. And that comes with hierarchy, couples privilege. So, as somebody who is married, been married a long time, or have dated people in relationships or married, Have you ever come across a moment where you felt like, oh, that was hierarchy at its best, whether on your end, on your husband end, or somebody that you're dating that their relationship person was your meta, was trying to exercise their power to end or control your relationships? It's a
Actually, I
good question.
have not dated anyone that was married, so I haven't had that issue.
Or in an established relationship.
They were not in any. They weren't in a
Okay.
relationship either.
So do you feel like you've exercised any power to influence any of your husband's relationship at any point? Or would you
Mm,
even admit to it?
I would admit to it. No.
Uh,
I think maybe somebody he was dating years ago. It was a holiday. I want to say maybe it was New Year's, and they wanted to spend New Year's with him. We have so many New Years under our belt. I was like, babe, if you want to go do New Year's, go ahead. But if we already had plans,
right. You don't want to
then
cancel
I would
that.
say, no.
Right.
But if we didn't have any concrete plans, I don't care. If I wasn't gonna do it, if we weren't gonna do anything, and you want to go do something, go do something.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. We have Anne asked a question. So I'm very ignorant. Nobody, no, I mean, we're all here to learn. So, what's the difference between an open relationship and being poly? So, I'm gonna go ahead and answer part of it. Maybe you guys can piggyback. So, typically, open relationship is the big umbrella, and this is how I'm gonna explain it in like regular life terms. We have the big umbrella, non-monogamy. Then we have open relationship under it. We have polyamory. We have ethical non-monogamy. We have non-ethical non-monogamy. We have swinging. We have BDSM. We have all kinds of stuff under that big umbrella. An open relationship typically can be connected to swinging. I would say it's like when the couple, any piece of the couple may be able to connect with other people on a sexual level. Usually they don't usually accept that you can fall in love or have feelings for anybody else that you're connected to. So that's why we typically call an open relationship. You have certain privileges. You can date or sleep, I would say, sleep with other people, but you're not really allowed to fall in love with them typically. As opposed to polyamory is many loves. So basically, you can fall in love with whomever because we can't really control our feelings. You may try to suppress them, but a lot of times, once it's there, it's there. You know, you can disappear from that person to kind of, if you don't want to exercise those feelings or whatever, but every time you see that person, they're going to resurface because all you're doing is just suppressing it. So yeah, that I don't know if that answers your question. And we have, what does meta mean? Meta is short for Metamour, and it's your partner's partner. So if I were to date your husband, you are my meta. If you have a boyfriend, now your husband has a meta. That boyfriend is his meta. So that kind of explanation. Hopefully that answers your questions. I don't know if you guys have anything else to add to it.
Well, me too. Let me ask you a question. Do you prefer to date? Would you prefer whoever you date to already have a partner, be married, or be single?
I don't know that I necessarily have a preference. I've always just gone with the flow. It's
Hmm.
like I connect with this person. Oh, you married? Okay, great. Let's make that open. Let's please, I need to meet your wife. But I'm not really sure that I have a preference because at every point in my polyamorous journey, I've dated people who are not married and people who are married, and I'm still very open to dating people who are married, and people who are not married. So I'm not sure. Maybe that's something I have to think about to see if I have a preference. But
Have you had issues with dating um, a partner that is married with the wife that may
not,
not be poly?
no. So far, I want to say I've only dated two married men, and I've never had any issues with their wives. I mean, it was you, and we're cool. The other wife, we hang out at events, but we don't necessarily interact outside of that. So if we all go to an event together, if we're all in the same space, we can sit down and talk and joke and, have conversations. But outside of that event, once we leave, I don't necessarily have like that kind of communication. Now, they are emergency person, so I have their contact number and they do have mine, but we don't necessarily, yeah, I've never really had an issue.
That was a
Yeah.
really good question. I was just sitting here thinking about what Julie asked. Dating a man who's in a relationship with his wife, they are not poly. So basically, you mean they have an open relationship. Excuse me, but they're not poly. So the man is allowed to date her, but
Right.
they're not in a poly situation. So it's just an open relationship, but they can never fall in love, is what you're saying.
Well, I think there are several relationships out there that are still polyamorous and not open in their mind
Okay.
because the wife does know and the husband is still he's dating and allowed to be able to fall in love as well, or have a partner for some period of time past the things that people do. um, I've seen it, I've heard about it, I've seen people talk about it in chats and whatnot. I don't see where that would be very easy for the person that's not poly.
So one person in the relationship is poly and the other one's not?
Now you do have those
Hmm.
dynamics
Uh-huh.
where you have poly mono relationships.
Okay.
I personally don't see how that can be successful because, again, the monogamous person typically is suffering. And a lot of times, too, women say yes to their husbands wanting to open up the relationships, or boyfriend or whatever, wanting to open up the relationship. But sometimes those women are not even really allowed to date, right? It's always like, oh, you can't be with other men, but
Or
I
the
can.
one penis policy type thing.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There are
That's
so
what you
many
mean.
different
Okay.
ways.
Wow.
Yeah, so sometimes people are coerced into,
Yeah.
those kind of dynamics. So yeah, we have a couple of comments. Let's see.
Thank you.
Ann said, got it. Okay, cool. Sky said, allowed to fall in love. Right. Because typically they're asking for permission, right? But technically, nobody should take anybody's autonomy. They should be able to, live life. I don't know how you not have a flow shot for all this. Oh, maybe a chart she probably meant, maybe for all of this. I don't know. What do you mean, Anne? Maybe there was some typos in there? Or they are monopoly. He's poly and she's monogamous. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna drop the link again. Um, so we
I
can
think what, and I don't know if that's specifically what she's asking, but I have seen a flow chart.
a flow chart. Okay.
Yeah, that for non-monogamous relationships and all the different levels.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
a friend
Okay.
just shared it with me. It's phenomenal. It's very, very informative. But there is a flow chart. There are flow charts out there.
Yes.
Hi.
Hello, madam.
Hey, what's going on?
Nothing. How are you? Don't get in trouble now.
No, I was listening to y'all at work, but I just got out, so I'm free. And I just wanted to jump in and say hi. And I was listening to y'all, so everything was correct. How is
Yes.
everything?
Yes.
Is
Okay.
everything
What did you say?
is everyone great tonight?
Oh yeah, we're just missing you. That's all.
So I think I just wanted to add a point to the whole conversation that from some of the stuff I heard, I really think that the goal should be that you meet the other partners and you get to know them because at the end of the day, polyamory truly is about conversion and it truly is about building community. So folks who are still in there, because I was that person, I was afraid to meet partners and metas and all that stuff. And um, I get it. I get it. But I pushed through my fears and realized that um, the real juice of being polyamorous is really um, learning how to work through your monogamous thoughts and that, oh, you like her better than me, and oh, you know, all of the isms and schisms that happen. The real beauty of being poly is really embracing abundant love. That's really what it is. And really being grateful that your partner is happy with other people and living their best life. Like, if people can't get into that headspace, they might as well not do it because the whole open relationship thing sometimes comes off pretty toxic because it's like I allow you to be involved with somebody but you just don't get emotional, don't don't have feelings. So many guys I've talked to are like, so what if we fall in love or what if I catch feelings for you, are you going to stop seeing other people? I was like, Negro, please. The goal is feelings. The goal is to catch feelings. What do you think? I'm out here just being involved with people just because I have nothing else to do? No, I'm trying to build a life with interesting people and have many amazing experiences. So, yeah, no, it's not going to change when I find that one. I might slow down or what have you, but the truth of the matter is, why do we have to be stuck in that same paradigm? Anytime people start talking about um, I mean, sometimes people go monogamous just because of their lifestyle, but anytime people start talking about those types of fears, I realize that they're still not on the path. And I feel like if you really want to do polyamory the correct way, you need to read books and books, articles, stories, and I would say good quality books because a lot of the articles are still coming from a crappy place, and that wouldn't be good advice. So, yeah.
Thank you, Sky. Thank you. And you know, well, she's here to convert the whole world, okay? Just so you
Yes.
guys know. So
I think that was
there are a few things we kind of diverge on, but
That
Yeah.
was really good input from Sky. For me, being on, starting this journey, it is definitely something to keep in mind. So thank you for
Yeah.
that feedback or that input.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
I
said
just
it's tough for me to keep up with all the terminology. You will eventually get it if you keep watching the Poly Pimps because we always give all the definitions and we give it like very practical so you can truly understand what we're talking about. Anthony says the mono poly I know is a lesbian couple and one of the wife is poly. Okay. I don't understand that dynamic honestly, but I do get it that some people they don't have a problem with their partners being with other people, but they just prefer to be with one person. I get that part, but a lot of times though I feel like privilege is going to be evoked a lot of times where it's like, well, I want you to stay home tonight. I know you have plans, but I want you to stay home with me tonight. I should be priority. I should be this. I should be that. I feel like it's always going to come to play when it's that kind of setup. Maybe I'm wrong.
I agree.
I agree with that as well. And I think the reason for me, as far as being polyamorous and not swinging, for me, is that swinging was empty. I want a connection
Right.
because it's not just about sex. Because I may have three partners and I sleep with this one, I don't sleep with that one, and I do something else with this one. So it's a very well-rounded circle. And although Maggie, you were saying you may not have enough time to give, your time is your time. Whatever time is available and that person is
That's
open to that, then that's the time that you have.
Right.
mm-hmm.
So you
Yeah.
don't really have to be worried about how much time you have because you're poly and they
Right.
get what they get or you get what you get.
Right.
Yeah. And I
But
mean, I have come to like sometimes I'll have a partner that I'll see for a whole week, right? And then we can't even get together for the next month because schedules are not aligned because we're all busy people trying to live life. We're getting older, so we're trying to get the bag so we can retire as well.
Mhm.
So sometimes you get a lot of time and other times you get none. And you have to be okay with that, although we all strive and we make effort to spend time with our loved ones and the people in our lives, but sometimes it's just not going to happen.
yeah.
And that's where having multiple partners. Well, I'm not hanging out with this person, but I can hang out with this person or I
Right.
can hang out with
Right.
that person. If
Right.
it's monogamous and your mindset is still monogamous, then you're thinking that I have to have all this time to give when you don't.
Right.
Right.
Julie, that actually stemmed from me being asked from a person who's supposed to be poly and has been poly for the entire life. They literally asked me, "So why are you trying to date if you don't have time?" And I was like, I thought that's exactly why we were pursuing this path, is so that if I don't have a whole lot of time, it's okay because you have somebody else to occupy your time. But I found out that they were interested in a primary. They didn't have other partners right now. They're trying to build, their tribe, I guess. But I was challenged with that question and I was like, okay, so I mean, it was I thought because being having multiple partners would solve that situation, and here I am exploring the lifestyle and I'm encountering the same mindset as monogamous relationships. So I,
That's just where they
I
are
was
at that
worried.
moment.
So thank you for that, because I was worried. I was like, so now what? I'm gonna have multiple people trying to pull at me and because
Yeah, and honestly, for me, that tells me a lot about that person as well.
Mhm.
Somebody like that, I'm not even sure I can even engage with you at that point because it tells me that once you have that one person, the other relationships in your life are not important. They're just disposable, and
Mhm.
because it's that person who's looking for a primary, and I'm not interested. Now there are dynamics like that where they have a primary and then the other people, they come and go, or they, to me it's just disposable. That's the word I want to use tonight. But I'm interested in dating people who take our relationship very seriously, no matter how little or how much time we spend together. It's not necessarily the amount of time we spend together, it's our connection and what we're trying to build.
Also, I think that one thing that I've experienced with dating is like what I'm not gonna deal with, and I don't really like dating nested partners. So if someone has a partner that they live with, I usually pass on that, and I don't always pass, but I I do pass majority of the time because couples privilege is not. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with couples privilege. I don't want to deal with. I've been out on dates where, we're out and then the wife calls or the girlfriend calls and it's like, fortunately the he didn't leave the date, but it was like, I'll be right back. I got to go take this call and blah blah blah. I don't want to deal with that at all. I just kind of feel like, understanding that people have responsibilities and children and different things that they have to take care of and stuff. But really, it becomes like irritating to me. Um, and yeah, it's going to be a rare situation where I deal with someone who lives with their partner. Like, if they have other partners in their life that everyone lives separately, I'm okay with that. So my girlfriend Novia, she said, "Well, don't you eventually want everyone to live together like this big kumbaya, everyone in a house?" And I was like, "Absolutely not. That doesn't even sound fun to me. Like, I want my own space. I want to see you regularly, and then you to see you leave as well. Seeing you come and seeing you go, there's pleasure in both sides. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
Oh, I mean, I get that, definitely.
So that's
So
what you guys were saying earlier. Everyone's relationship is gonna look different.
different.
You
Yep.
have to figure out, or again, I have to figure out what works best for me. So
Hmm.
as you explore it, you'll come to terms with, I want this, and I can live with this, but I can't live with that. And like Sky said, I don't want to deal with this portion of it. So you selectively choose your partners according to your own needs, right?
Yep.
Right. Yep.
Oh, thank you
All
both.
right. Well, it's about to be 10:30, ladies. I know the conversation is great, but I think we all have to get to bed because we're, well, not to bed, but we all have responsibilities, don't we? We are Wonder Women. So,
Indeed, indeed,
um,
indeed.
yes, we want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Thank you for participating. Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Anthony. I don't want to not say somebody's name if they came in. Um, we will see you guys in a couple of weeks. As always, send us requests that you want, and remember to share our channels with your friends, your families, anybody you think could benefit from the conversations. We have three. This is our third season, so we have two full seasons for them to watch. It's absolutely free to support us. The more likes, the more subscriptions, the more follows, the better for us, and we can grow and bring you better topics, different guests, and all that. So it's the Poly Pimps on YouTube, IG, and Facebook. So please go subscribe to the channel, follow us on IG, and like us on Facebook. Thank you, ladies, for saying yes to being part of this show tonight, where we talked about Metamour relationships and couples privilege. We're still going down the list of movies because I find it very interesting to go through these movies and the shows and talk about the different dynamics or poly or non-monogamy that they've put in those movies and those shows. Um, and like the one that we talked about last time, You've Got to Have It. The movie was in the 1980s. I was pretty shocked that they painted a woman in a great light in that sense. So, um, yeah, we're gonna continue talking about some of these movies and shows and how also they mirror some of our lives. I don't know if you guys have a last word.
I just
I,
wanted to do a shameless plug. I wrote my book,
Oh yeah,
Recipes for the Sweetest Pussy.
yes.
Um, I'll drop the where you could purchase it on in the dialogue in the chat. I'll do that now before I forget. But I just wanted to thank y'all, and I was listening from the beginning, and I was at work, but I jumped in when I left. So thank you.
Thank you, Sky. We miss you. And hopefully you'll get a Thursday off so you can jump in. So everybody gets your book to have the sweetest pussy. And if you're dealing with a pussy holder, get the book for her and support us, support Sky. Hey, Miriam. Anne says, good night, ladies. Good night,
Good
Anne.
night.
Thank you so much for tuning in and participating. And at any time, you guys can also come on camera and say what you have to say if you don't want to type in everything that you want to say. Thank you again for being here. We will see you in 2 weeks. Support us on social media at the Polypamps. Good night,
Thanks for
ladies.
inviting me,
thank
Yes,
you for having me. You all have a good night.
thank
everybody
you.
as well.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.